Dan Machovec is our guest on WRCA Radio. We're talking about youth sports, youth wrestling. The state is coming up this week, Dan.
Yes, it is. Friday night, we have some wrestlers who are kind of the middle-age group. So you'll have the late elementary, early middle school kids wrestling. Saturday, you'll have the youngest wrestlers at the tournament and the oldest wrestlers at the tournament for the boys. And then Sunday is dedicated to all the girls.
What venue will you be wrestling at?
We are at the Alliant Energy Center.
Boy, that's got to be exciting.
It is exciting. The stadium is full. The kids are loud. The grandparents are there. I think aunts and uncles out of nowhere are there as well. It is full, and it's an absolute experience for any kid to be there. And to be on the mat in front of that many people is kind of nerve-wracking, but they love it.
What are the ages for these youth kids that are coming up this weekend?
So on Friday night, we have ages 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. And then on Saturday, it's ages 2011, 2012, 2017, and 2018. So these are all the birth years for that. So the youngest age looks like it's going to be 2017, 2018, to the oldest age being 2011, 2012.
Are you seeing some good numbers? I mean, not only at Richland Center, but at other area schools?
Yeah, at the Prairie du Chien qualifier, which is where we wrestled at as a club, there were 491 wrestlers. And the director of the WWF, Todd Schaff, mentioned that there were almost 5,000. It was 4,958 wrestlers, I believe, across the state competing on Saturday to go to state.
Those are some really good numbers. And I think the key is now keeping them out all the way till grade 12, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we stress at the club is we provide as many opportunities for them to wrestle, and we don't force anybody to go anywhere, and practices have to be fun, and that's the main thing, to keep them excited about it, because if it's all about winning right now, then there's just too much pressure, and it's not fun for the little guys and gals.
Did you have teams compete?
As a team, there, you could register under the club that you wrestle for, your school club, or if you do participate in other clubs, you can be registered under that. We did do a team state competition a couple weeks ago. That was in Wisconsin Dells, and we had a boys team, 3rd through 5th grade. We placed 11th out of 16. Had some really tough matchups. Our pool actually had the returning state champions of Iowa Grant and the actual state champions this year from Freedom. We actually wrestled those two teams right away, and then because of the weather, the other team didn't show up. So we had a really tough pool and came out of that strong and ended up with 11th after that.
Okay. Well, maybe you could go over the names of some of the individuals who will be representing the club this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Austin Ewing, Aiden Ewing, Miles Ewing, Cullen Katarabik, Landon Kayaski, Emmerich Kallman, Cashton Larson, Killian Machovec, Rayla Ronfeld, Easton Rulin, Riken Salazar, Sebastian Schmidt, and they all placed 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. And another one from the Richland Center, the other thing about the Richland Center Wrestling Club is we had 4 alternates this year. So they placed 4th place. Leanne Schmidt, Evan Haiti, and Leon Crook. And Braden Aid also placed 4th at the tournament.
Well, you'll be well represented this weekend at the Alliant, won't you?
We're going to be busy, and that's one of the good things is we have plenty of coaches, and it's fun because if you're sitting there for 1 or 2 kids, it becomes a long day, but it's really fun. Underneath the tunnel, all these kids run around, and then they see their buddy or their teammate get called, and they go sprinting upstairs, and they get to the section, even if it's across the arena, just to go down in the picture area, so they're in the front 2 rows cheering their teammates on.
Oh, that is really great. And I think as a coach, do you worry about missing? Like, oh my goodness, somebody gets called and we don't hear it or something, right?
Yeah, one of the best things about the new technology we have is I get text alerts.
Oh.
So as soon as a kid gets called, it texts me telling me what their bout number is and what mat they're assigned to. And we're still sprinting to get there because sometimes there's only 2 or 3 matches before that happens. But yes, as a coach, we are definitely stressed trying to get all the kids to the mat, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it really is. And then it's kind of a blur, but I'm guessing that for these kids, it's a big weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, the smiles on their faces, even after a loss. I know a couple kids last year, they're not used to the atmosphere of it being if you lose 2, you're done. They're used to round robins where, okay, I lost 2 matches, I still might have a third or a fourth because of pairings. But here it's different. They're going to have, 2 losses and you're completely out, and they're always begging for another match. And that just lets you know, number one, you did it right as a program because they're still excited about wrestling, and number two, that kid enjoys the sport and still wants to have another competition.
For Richland Wrestling Club, then, how often do you practice during the year? Are those done now?
So this is new for me coming here this year. We actually had a dual team practice every Monday night for the grades 3 through 5th. And that was a new experience for us to get them competitive and get them used to drilling without the younger kids there. And Tuesdays and Thursdays, we practice with all age groups that were in the club.
Okay. And right now, then you're done this weekend, but then there are some kids that are going to be doing some other styles of wrestling, right?
Yeah, there's freestyle and Greco that's starting. There's kids who can stay in our wrestling club and go ahead and participate in that stuff. We have multiple clubs in the area that support that as well. I don't want to mention any of them because I'll forget some, and I don't want to forget any of these great local clubs that support the wrestlers in this area.
Awesome. And I think it's good. You encourage these wrestlers to be involved in everything, don't you?
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it because as we've discussed with youth sports, there's many different youth sports going on right now. And the great thing about youth wrestling is there's not a ton of those tournaments, and the practices do wind down for the freestyle and Greco type, but they have beginner tournaments, and that's my favorite part about it, because if you're nervous about trying something new, at least there are local tournaments that are beginners, so first-year kids only, and they can track that with the internet now, so that's how you know they're legit.
Wow. The technology has really kind of helped out the sport, I think, hasn't it?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, it all depends on who you talk to. But I truly believe it has, especially from running tournaments and getting kids to mats and assigning them and finding places to wrestle. It's been a blessing.
When you talk about specializing, it's not hard to look down an NFL roster and find how many of these guys wrestled in high school. A lot of them have.
Yeah, I was super thrilled about the Micah Parsons trade because he was a multi-state champ. So that's something that I used to talk to the kids about, and my own son included, because it shows them be a dual sport athlete or multi-sport athlete, learn from other coaches, learn from other players in other situations. So I'm all about that.
Can you imagine having had to wrestle Micah Parsons? That wouldn't have been fun, I don't think.
Killian just talked about that on the way home the other day. He's like, who would want to wrestle him? And I said, buddy, someone probably beat him, and that's what they talk about every single day.
Probably.
So I would.
Just for the chance to say you did, right?
No, for sure. I would keep that wall chart.
Oh, man. Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate that, and good luck to you and all of the youth this weekend.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Dan Machovec joining us, representing Richland Center Youth Wrestling on WRCO.